Entrepreneurs and small business owners, are you feeling overwhelmed by lack of capital, growth challenges, or personal branding? You are not alone. UCS Advisors is here for you. We're professional capital raising advisors committed to helping you secure funding and grow your business. Are you ready to impress investors? Check your investor readiness with our free 45-second quiz at ucsquiz.com. We believe in you. Visit ucsquiz.com and start your success journey. And remember, always be willing to achieve your greatness.
All right, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Greetings from the Garden State. I'm your host, Mike Cam. We are here in Millburn, New Jersey today at Common Lot with Ehren Ryan. Ehren, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Absolutely. Yeah, so thank you for having me into your space for the second time this week, which is pretty great.
Yeah.
So finally got a chance to try Common Lot, which I had never done before, and we were just like blown away. Like it was so good, like worth it, and now getting to know you better, you know, is really great. Like I'm really excited about that.
Awesome. Yeah, it was good to see you on what day was it? Wednesday. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was good. You know, it's been busy, so yeah, can't complain.
Yeah. I mean, that was a good like Wednesday crowd, I feel like, too. I think you said that. Like it was, you know, maybe because they heard I was coming. Definitely not. That's definitely not it. But I also, so you did the event at Patello last year with Eva's Village, right? And I don't remember what you made, but I remember like thinking like, wow, that one was my favorite one. But I tried so many different things, and then there was a couple distilleries there that I was sampling,
which also helped.
It does slip my mind slightly. But I remember, you know, seeing you there and like trying your stuff and everybody's stuff really, because the whole event was really awesome and just a cool thing that you guys do. But yes, so I'd remember you from that too.
It was a shrimp, it's like a shrimp salad with XO and, you know, wonton, I think.
Yeah.
These guys, it wasn't a fun dish to prep. It's like 350 of it.
Yeah, right. So there's a lot of wontons. Okay, so let's dive in. We're gonna learn a little bit about you first, and then kind of learn your story and kind of how you got yourself here to Millburn. If people haven't figured out, judging by your accent, you're not necessarily a Jersey guy.
No, this is not my Jersey accent.
No, it doesn't sound like it.
No, this is my best actual version of it.
You're doing
Yeah.
You're trying to like water it down.
Yeah.
So you're from Australia.
Correct. Yeah.
Right. So talk to me about that. Like you grew up there, obviously, and
grew up around the world. So my parents were diplomats. And so we lived in India, we lived in Philippines and Hong Kong when we were younger kids, and then settled at high school time in Sydney, and spent did all high school in Sydney, and it was good. Loved it, but never chose this job as a career.
Yeah,
I was never planning to do chefing. So I've always been in hospitality. My first job was at McDonald's at 14 and a half, when it was actually decent.
Right.
When you actually cook shit in real time. No reheating or anything like that. But it was good. That I got a bar job when I was just under the legal limit, like 17, I think.
Sure. No
training. Was making Long Island iced teas with 5 full shots.
Nice.
And I was getting tips, really good tips.
Yeah.
So and then getting yelled at because the inventory came in and like, why are we going through so much? And I was like, I'm getting really good money.
Yeah, right.
No idea what I'm doing.
Exactly.
And then I wanted to do hospitality management, so I actually wanted to do hotel. Go into the hotel side.
Oh, interesting.
I thought I would be a good personality to deal with customers, and thank God I didn't, because I'm not.
Back of house guy.
No, I'm a back of house guy. Yeah. Thanks. Bye. But yeah, we had to do a course in culinary, and it was really interesting. Working with knives, working with fire, stress, discipline. I think was a key factor as well. I wasn't a bad kid at all. I was actually pretty good, from what I think. I remember.
Yeah, we all think that.
My recollection, I was an angel.
Yeah, right.
But I kind of fell into it. There's none of this story where it is, I was sitting in my grandma's lap or whatever. One of my grandparents was great. She cooked well. Nice roast dinner. The rest of them, yeah. Mum's a really good cook. But I was never like a family kind of like,
Sure, like a food scene in the family.
No.
Did talk to me about the traveling, like being a son of diplomats and like traveling around the world and living in different places around the world. Like, did that influence anything in any way, or was that more just kind of like, not even thinking about it, just like going to these different places because that's just like the lifestyle that you guys lived?
I think it was just a lifestyle. I think what got me hooked on, I guess, hospitality as a job was travel. Like, I wanted to see more of the world. That's what really got me. Okay, I want to see the world. That's what kind of got me into that kind of mindset. But I was young, so it was slightly different. There was also, our style of living overseas was a bit different. Like we had housekeepers and drivers and this kind of shit, and then so it was way different. We had a chef that cooked kind of stuff for us in India, and it was fine, but there was nothing like a culinary revolution there, or anything like that. It was more like I got the travel bug, and that's what I wanted to do. I knew I wanted to travel and see more of the world.
Interesting.
That's why I think I chose hospitality as a job, because you could just transfer it anywhere.
Right.
And then I kind of fell into culinary due to the course we had to do and the teacher, and it just kind of worked from there. I told my parents, it's like, yeah, I'm going to be a chef, and they're like, okay.
Yeah. I was gonna say, like, was there like a what?
No, I wasn't really academically kind of like smart.
Okay.
I think I passed high school. I'm pretty sure I did.
Yeah. Well, you're sitting here. I would imagine maybe.
Yeah. Who knows? But look, my parents just said, as long as I, they'll support me no matter what, as long as I do the best that I can.
Right.
So they basically reiterated that I needed to work in the best restaurants.
Yeah.
They said if you're gonna flip burgers, fine, you go pick the best burger space and you spot, and you go flip burgers there.
Sure.
And that's kind of what I did. My brother was really smart. He got into law school and this kind of stuff. He passed away from leukemia.
Oh, wow.
When I was 20. He was 18. So, but he got into law school, and so we were completely different. But I fell into it, and I knew that's what I wanted to do. So I managed to get into one of the best restaurants in Sydney. I dressed up in a suit, and I was nervous as hell.
Right.
And I had the interview, and he's like, "Yeah, cool. When can you start tomorrow?" I was like, "Okay."
Yeah. What is because I've never been to Australia or anywhere down there, but what is the food scene like down there? Because I feel like you don't really hear a lot about it.
Yeah, there's no we don't have like a
cuisine.
Nah,
I feel like the only thing that we would know here is like an Outback.
Yeah, that's not it.
That's not it.
No, we didn't even have one of those.
Yeah,
in Australia, we didn't have none of that shit. Even I'm like, so what's the difference?
Yeah, right.
You call it like a shrimp, like shrimp on the barbie. I'm like, we don't even say that. We call them prawns. So
yeah, right. Yeah, exactly.
Our cuisine's just multicultural.
Okay.
Pretty much. I think that's pretty much the best thing. We take a lot of influence for Southeast Asia because that's the closest kind of area to us. But yeah, we have a lot of influence. We have a lot. We have a big Italian community. Depends on where you are. It's just different communities.
Sure.
So there's no real one set style in Australia. I think if anything, it's just light fare. It's light. It's always been fresh. We use minimal amounts of butter and cream. And we use a lot of herbs, I guess that's kind of the best way to describe it.
Yeah.
But Southeast Asian influence is the biggest part of it.
Gotcha. It's interesting because some of the dishes that we had that came through, I feel like have a little bit of that flair to them.
Yeah.
We had that Fijian ceviche.
Oh, yeah.
That was really good.
It's just, and that kind of, that's what you'd get normally in I would say, most either cafes for lunch or most kind of, light kind of lunch restaurants and this stuff. So it's a very kind of casual environment.
Yeah.
Shoes are optional in Australia in general.
Yeah.
Even in restaurants during the day, you don't have to wear shoes.
Sure.
Especially if you're near the beach.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, our kind of style is, we've morphed, I think, more into fine dining here.
Okay. Yeah.
Since we started.
Definitely. Okay, so you take this culinary class, you really kind of take a shine to it, and now you're into it. You get this job at one of the best restaurants in Sydney.
Yeah.
Talk to me about like that first restaurant experience. Was it like people see like,
Brutal.
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 Yeah. So it was everything that you wanted it to be.
Yeah, like it was, going in there as an 18-year-old, 19-year-old, it was full on. Like it was my first real experience and it was a big kitchen. Like there was 20 chefs.
Yeah.
And they're all like,
That's really big for a kitchen. Isn't it? Yeah.
Well, it's a decent sized kitchen.
Okay.
So yeah, I just put, started, and it was rough. Like it was long days. There were times there where I would, get in, like 7 a.m. because you'd start about 8:39.
Sure.
But by the time you got there, I got in a bit early. And, if you were on a double, it was like a 1 o'clock finish, a.m. So,
Yeah.
it was long days and it was tough. Like the discipline in that place was insane. You kind of wanted to start smoking like cigarettes because it was the only time you get to breathe fresh air for 14, 16 hours a day.
Yeah.
So it was that kind of mentality. You'd eat kind of standing up and you'd eat sitting on the bench or something like that quickly, 5 minutes, get back to work.
Yeah.
Shit yelled at you all the time. Constantly told to hurry up. And constantly in fear of fucking up, basically.
Yeah.
Because it was that high end and it was that kind of pressured. And it was good. I kind of did 2-ish years, I guess there, 2 and a bit years. And then, I needed a break because my brother passed away. So I was mentally not kind of in the best place.
Right.
So I went somewhere a little bit more casual for a while and then got back into it, got into another really good restaurant in Australia. But it was the opposite. It was literally head chef, me, and the other head chef. So it was 3 chefs.
Yeah.
And 2 of them were like the owners. So it was like
Totally different.
There was no hiding.
Yeah.
Like it was like,
Everybody's on full display.
Yeah. And it was, that place was all about discipline. Like we do deep cleans on Saturday, polish the tiles in the kitchen, everything got pulled out. That's where I had to I got in trouble for not cutting the tape for labeling properly. So I had to relabel the entire fridge with all fresh tape, all cut. So I learned my lesson once, never did it again. Now it's all here. It's you cut tape, it's all OCD in a sense, but it's all about discipline, and cleanliness and organizational skills.
Yeah. Well, I imagine like in both situations, like, one kitchen where you have 20 people in the kitchen and the other one where you have 3. Obviously, like 20, there's like a lot of moving parts and people and whatever. So there needs to be obviously like an organization thing. But then if there's only 3 and you're doing like, I guess, ostensibly like more work, right?
Yeah.
Then you also have to be like organized and disciplined to make sure that like, all the stuff that you're getting done is getting out to people's tables.
Yeah, you could almost, with the bigger kitchens, you could kind of hide behind someone else,
Yeah.
I'm under the bus, et cetera, if you didn't like them.
Yeah.
Then this place is no one to throw under the bus.
Yeah.
It's literally yourself.
Right.
If you screwed up, you're like, it was you. If you ran out of something, there's no one else to blame because you're the only one prepping it.
Yeah.
So it was great. Like I learned that and it was phenomenal. Like that place learned, I went from like, I could budget of like anything. Every ingredient would come in: truffles, caviar, scampi, this kind of stuff. And then you go, or langoustines, and then you go the other end where, it was all about secondary cuts. How can I change something that is a cheaper cut into something that's prime?
Interesting.
And that's kind of that's very English cooking, taking your secondary cuts and turning it into like a prime meat.
Yeah.
So, it was again fine dining, and I just knew that fine dining was kind of it. Everything I was learning on the way was all about technique and taste and everything like that. So I knew that fine dining was basically my key to the world. In a sense.
Yeah.
And I was,
go ahead.
I
Sorry.
was gonna say, they had connections overseas, so those guys were English in that kitchen, so their English mentality was decent.
Right.
Europe was a whole nother level.
Yeah, because then from there you went to Europe.
Yeah.
Right.
I went to Canada.
Canada first.
Canada first, but I write that off as a nothing.
Sure.
It was just
I was just like a stop.
yeah. I just got pretty much. Yeah, I got a job. I don't really remember it much. I went snowboarding a lot. That's pretty much it.
Okay, there you go.
Yeah.
Pick it up a little bit.
Yeah, partied a lot.
Yeah.
A lot. Yeah, there was times there where we'd wake up and it'd be still daytime, and we'd start working a couple of hours.
Yeah.
It was terrible.
Yeah.
We barbecued inside the house one time.
Oh, great.
Because it was snowing. We couldn't be bothered taking it. So we brought the barbecue inside. Why not?
Yeah.
Oh, he's dumb. Oh, dumb as hell. But yeah, I just write that off as I didn't put that on my CV at all. So there's a whole year of like nothing.
Right.
I just say I was traveling.
Yeah.
So,
That's okay, but I mean that adds to like the allure of you. So
Yeah.
if you're traveling, which you were,
Yeah, I was traveling and working.
in Canada.
Yeah.
But then from there is when you went to Europe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And from there, I went and I worked at a chef called Pierre Gagné. He had 3 stars and this kind of stuff in France, and he had 1 or 2 stars in London, and I went to London. And that was I got the job before I landed, which was dumb because I had no accommodation. So I said it'll be easy. I was staying in a hostel for like 3 weeks in Piccadilly Circus, the shittest place imaginable. First day I got to work, he's like, "Oof, no, shave your beard, cut your hair," and I went, "Oh crap."
This is one of those places.
And it was one of those places. So shaved, cut my hair, like literally just shaved it. And every day was 7:30 a.m. start, and if I was lucky to get home by 2, that was good.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's a long day.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, so it's interesting to me, like kind of like right out of the gate, like from in Sydney, then to the second nicer place that you were at, then to here. It's like right out of the gate in like these high level, kind of like intense kitchens, and you don't seem like that kind of guy. That I'm sure obviously like you take pride in like a lot of your stuff and all that because it shows on the plate and all that kind of stuff, but just maybe kind of the vibe that you get here is not necessarily that way. I think that's what I was trying to say.
I think a lot of that has changed.
Yeah.
Like those kitchens are still here. And it is here as well. I've learned through places that I've worked at how not to act in some ways, and how I want my own kitchen to be a representative of myself and Nadine and this kind of stuff. So like the French kitchen in London was I thought my first restaurant was this left anything that I've ever worked at for dead.
Yeah.
Both physically, mentally, and just any other of the senses that could possibly emotionally damaged.
Yeah.
There was stories there where there's times there where I got my ass handed to me, and I got even if it wasn't there, I'd get in trouble for it.
Yeah.
And there was a chef had a temper and threw a pan so hard back at me, shattered the tiles behind me. Luckily I ducked. Oh, that's pretty good.
Yeah. Pretty quick.
Yeah, I was like,
instead of shattering your face.
I was like, sucker, you missed.
Definitely does. It doesn't seem like that's a place where you can say that.
No. Yeah. Well, in my mind, I was like,
of course.
You missed.
Yeah.
You look like an idiot. Right. Now I got to clean this shit up, so watch out. It was that, I got more physically abused there than anywhere else.
Wow.
I had things heated up, and because I was apparently too slow. He put like the fish slice on my arm and all this kind of stuff, and burn me, and like other the sous chef would do it. Mainly the sous chef. He was a prick.
Yeah.
And that was, I just learned. Day in and day out, I was like, I hate you. And it was just, that was what it was like back then.
Yeah.
And it was probably worse before, like earlier.
Right.
Now it's like there's no way that would happen.
No. Yeah.
So, you know, those that kind of experience, it was just I couldn't deal with. You know, I spent a year there, but that place opened up any door in Europe.
Yeah.
Because, you know, that chef is he's world renowned. His kitchens are not run like that anymore. He's a bit eccentric, but, you know, the kitchens are not run like that. And no kitchens really run like that anymore.
Yeah.
Because no one puts up with it.
Right.
And no one should. That shit's done.
Yeah.
So, you know, the other kitchens I worked at in Europe, there's, you know, Fat Duck, Dinner by Heston. That was a whole nother level of like, wow. 54 chefs or something like that.
Wow.
7-day operation, lunch and dinner. And it was the hierarchy, and it was insane. Like, it was like you just talk to the chef above you. That's it.
Yeah.
Everyone knew their job. You just come in, and it was like perfection every single day. And that's where the first time I had 4 days on, 3 days off. So that was that first schedule of like, oh, I'm like, sure, it was great.
A little work-life balance.
Yeah, you could kind of slip the sous chef who does the scheduling and something, and you could kind of give yourself like 6 days off.
Yeah.
From 1 week to another, and just go away on a quick vacation without having to take vacation.
Yeah.
And then you'd suffer because you'd have to work like 8 days in a row. Yeah.
Yeah, but at that point, you've already, you know, done these crazy hours and shifts and whatever. So you're used to it.
Yeah. The problem was that I was drinking more back then, so it'd be like partying for like that 6 days was either spent in like Ibiza.
Yeah.
So it'd be like, fuck, I'm dead. It was dumb. I did 3 days in Ibiza. I'm like,
yeah, right.
3 days to recover, and you're like, damn, I could still do another 3 days to recover after that. So there was, you know, those things I was like, okay, this is cool.
Yeah.
Like, there were restaurants that I got a job at, but you know, the chef was a psycho. You know, like, I was on my trial one day, and I remember not straining a sauce because, you know, I didn't know what I was doing. I was on a trial. I was like, first time I've ever seen this kitchen.
Yeah.
I didn't strain a sauce, so he tipped out all my sauces onto the hot top, and what that does is it just creates this level of like, it just sticks. It's just, and it smokes and shit. And he's like, you didn't strain it. You're an idiot. You know, clean up. And I was like, my stunned face. I looked at the sous chef and went, "Are you serious? Like, I don't know what I'm doing." Like, he's like, "Oh, he's just messing around." I'm like,
It doesn't seem like it.
And, you know, like the chefs, I could see it in the sous chef's face saying, "Man, damn it," because we just had at the start of the day someone walked out, so that's why I was on that section.
Right.
I was there like, I'm like, at the end of the day, so you know, sitting down, he's like, "Do you want a cup of tea?" I'm like, "Yeah, cool." You know, this is very England.
Yeah.
So like, in my mind, I'm like, "Where's my beer? I need my
Seriously.
You know, like, I don't want a tea, but I had a tea with him, and he's like, "So what do you think?" And I went, "Honestly?" And he's like, "Yeah." He's like, I said, "Dude, I'm not working here. I'm not putting up with this shit. I'm on a trial."
Right.
You know, like, and he's like, "Yeah, I figured that." And I went, "Are you, like, how do you keep staff?" And he's like, "We don't." I'm like, "How many staff do you go through?" Because like, we turn through stuff. And I could see him just defeated, you know what I mean? And you know, when you ask the other chefs, "Oh, how long you been here?" It was like under 6 months. Every single one of them was under 6 months. And you know that's a bad sign in the kitchen. You know, and then I met my wife at another restaurant over there, a Michelin star restaurant, and it was, you know, we met. I was potting peas one day, and she walked in, and I'm like, wow. That's so romantic.
Yeah. Right.
So we worked with each other. We moved to Austria, and we worked in Austria at a hotel. I knew not a lick of German.
Yeah.
And so, you know, when they'd be yelling at me, I'd be like, "Don't care." It's like a water off a duck's back type thing.
Yeah, right.
Like, don't know what you're saying. Although I knew the words, I was like, "Oh, that's bad. I'm getting yelled at."
Yeah.
But I was something good. I was like, "Yeah, but I don't know what I'm doing."
Yeah, right.
So, you know, he'd tell me to go get something from the fridge, some vegetable. I'd be like, "Shit, I don't know what it is." And I'm pretty sure back then I didn't have like a phone that had like proper Google on it, in a sense.
To, like, translate.
Yeah, I was like, So I'd just bring up a whole box of different vegetables.
Yeah.
And then like, "You pick which one?" I'll come, I'll do it. Which is probably, it was good, but yeah, I did what I needed to do.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was fun. And I went for another trial at another restaurant. It was really good, and I really wanted to work there. I got there, you know, when I got the interview, I was like, he goes, oh, we start at 6. I'm like, okay, fine. And I finished at 11, 12 for the day, for the trial, and I loved it. And I was like, oh my God, this is amazing. Nearly every chef that'd been there would be like 2-3 years. So you knew, like, for me to actually get in was insane.
Right.
And I stayed a little bit later because, they're like, oh, we got to prep some mackerel when it was like 12:30, 1 a.m. I'm like, okay. He's like, oh, you can go. You've been on your trial. I'm like, oh, it's fine. I'll do it. And I had like 22 missed calls from the dean saying, where are you? What's going on?
Yeah, yeah.
And I said to her the next day, I went, oh, I love this job. And she's like, not a fucking chance. Not a chance.
Yeah, right. Not playing that game.
Yeah. She said, not a chance. I said, okay. So, I made a decision.
Right.
Future wife, probably. Awesome job. I was, obviously I went with good choice.
Yeah, I would say so.
Yeah, because she's obviously going to listen to this. So,
Of course.
good choice.
Yes,
I made the right decision.
Yep.
But, that restaurant was phenomenal. And it was good to see. Like, I wanted to see something that had almost zero turnover.
Yeah.
And it was, you could tell. People loved that job. So I had all this experience in Europe, and I'd seen kitchens I'd met chefs that I'd want to emulate here, and I'd seen chefs that I just like don't even want to become. I've seen styles of restaurants, how it's run, and that's where I kind of just drew inspiration. And I'd written them down, like I'd written in this book that I've still got. That it's just like, right, this is how I want to start common law, or not even common law. If I ever open a restaurant, this is what I wanted. This is what I kind of want to become. So I knew that I had styles that I wanted to follow, and I knew that I wanted to be kind of this. And it was all written down. Like I had this book, and it was just this kind of, I guess, starting point,
right,
for Nadine and I. So we ended up moving back. So after Europe, I think that was like 8 years or so like that. We'd moved back to Australia. I took a job in a hotel, thinking that might be the best, entry into Australia. I was like, I think I was in a month into it. I'm like, this sucks.
Yeah,
I hate hotels. So boring.
Yeah,
I was an office chef, and I was like, I can't remember. I was 27, 28, something like that.
Right.
Like this sucked.
Yeah.
Like I'm not built for this. After just spending since 2000, since I was 18, getting my nuts kicked every day.
Yeah.
The pressure.
We got ourselves
Yeah.
too.
It was like,
Almost. Yeah.
Hotel managing, babysitting. I was like, this sucks.
Yeah.
So I was just like, yeah. So I found another job, and it was one of those ones where I was, it was like become a, do I take it as a head chef or do I just go as a sous chef somewhere? And I took the head chef role. And it was in this restaurant in the middle of this national park, and it was phenomenal views, mainly lunches only. So dinners were like, every now and then.
Yeah.
But it was phenomenal. The kitchen was shit. Like there was half the shit was working. You had to turn the fan on in the oven. You had to kind of go in there with tongs and give it the old kickstart.
Right.
But
like a wind up one.
Yes. Yeah. But the fact is that the fan was open, so you couldn't put shit in too deep because it just you hear this da, 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 or your hand. You couldn't want to do that.
Yeah.
Because it would take your fingers off, and it was it was interesting. So what I learned there was like what I could do with nothing.
Right.
We were in the national park as well, so there was animals everywhere.
Cool.
Yeah.
Okay. Not cool.
Australia, everying kills you.
That's true. Yeah.
Don't forget.
Australia, literally everything can kill you.
Yeah. So we had a 7-foot python in the ceiling.
With that.
Yeah.
You don't get that a lot here in Millburn.
No. And it we called it Monty, obviously. Sure. Monty Python. The shit, I remember one day the thing coming through the office window, and I was upstairs doing orders, and I'm there like, and I'm not great with snakes. And I remember I was obviously not athletic. I was athletic, don't get me wrong, but I was like, somehow I was super gymnast that day because I, in one stride, managed to just jump legs as high as I could ever get them over the computer and out the door in a heartbeat. and I managed to get the manager, who was much more kind of better at that shit.
Sure.
He got the broom and just kind of pushed it out.
Yeah.
And like a couple of days later, there was this. It was this all racket in the ceiling. There's like there's like rattling around and shit like that. And then it was just this like death throw.
Yeah.
And the Monty Python managed to get a possum and kill it.
Oh my God.
In the ceiling.
Oh,
yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah. So then it started because it was a big ass possum. It just had to sit there and wait till it digests.
Oh.
So what happened? It sat between the rafters and the thing. So it just sat straight on the ceiling.
Yeah.
And then over time, the ceiling was collapsing because of the weight.
Yeah.
So we had to finally get pest control out. But it was a goanna, big ass goanna, rolling through the restaurant. Like the customers are screaming.
Yeah, like a movie, like all the tables are popping.
Yeah, I was there like, our manager just went out there and dragged it by its tail and put it back in the bush.
Amazing.
I was like, this is the most screwed up restaurant. Yeah.
Yeah. Before we keep going with these stories, because my camera just stopped, so we're going to take our break.
Yeah.
And then we'll pick up where we are, because I think this is a good stopping point.
Cool.
Kind of like right where we're at. So, but I love this so far. So this is the Greens for the Garden State podcast. I'm Mike Cam. We're here at Common Law in Millburn, New Jersey with Ehren Ryan. We'll be right back.
The Mayo Performing Arts Center is the heart of arts and entertainment in Morristown, New Jersey. MPAC presents over 200 events annually and is home to an innovative children's arts education program. To see MPAC's upcoming schedule of world-class concerts, stand-up comedy, family shows, and more, head to mayoarts.org or just click the link in our show notes. Bored of going to the same park? Want to try a new local adventure? Well, then check out njspots.com, your home for finding a new spot to discover right here in New Jersey. With dozens of maps to check out, local hiking spots, family-friendly places, and seasonal suggestions, NJ Spots is waiting for you to find somewhere new to explore. That's njspots.com.
All right, we're back for segment 2 of this episode of Greetings for the Garden State. I'm your host, Mike Cam. We're here in Millburn, New Jersey at Common Law with Ehren Ryan. So first segment, we learned all about your background growing up, bouncing around in different kitchens all over the world, essentially. And then we're picking it up basically where you're at this restaurant in a national park dealing with the local wildlife, the flora and fauna of Australia.
Yeah.
So let's take it from there. And one question that I did have for you, and I think it's interesting because so I've never worked in a kitchen. My girlfriend has. You met Chrissy.
Yeah.
Working in these kitchens that you've worked in up until this one where you're finally a head chef, do you have opportunities in those kitchens to try things like put a dish on a menu or experiment with things? Because it's interesting to me because you can cook somebody's menu, here's the recipe basically, cook it. And you're like, okay, just do it. And obviously here or at this place that we're talking about right now, you obviously have to be the one that puts stuff on the menu. Is talk to me about maybe that, whether it's a jump or if you had those opportunities or when you started kind of putting these things together in your head.
So the restaurants I picked to work at, no.
Okay.
It was even at Sous Chef, it was it's done.
Right.
This is the menu we're doing. They literally had people. A lot of the restaurants that I worked at had chefs, development chefs that would just develop recipes and menus and shit. That was their job.
Yeah.
And then you just come and execute it.
Gotcha.
So the restaurants that I chose, that was not in that kind of thing. So that's where I learned, again, a style and that I wanted to kind of create. Here at Common Lot, I push these guys to come up with specials.
Yeah.
I push these guys to kind of create their palate, grow their palate. And that's something that I wanted to that was something I learned. And I appreciate the fine dining aspect, but there is a point where it's sometimes it's just not as inclusive, you just become a robot.
Yeah. Right.
And I think in that aspect, that's where I was okay, I've learned from this. I'll treat it differently. The 3 stars, they're even the 1 or 2, maybe the 2 and 3 stars, they're the ones that okay, someone's already developed this menu.
Right.
You don't really have a say.
Yeah.
You just get it done.
Yeah.
But that's something where if you're in your starting your career, early 20s, that's your job. That's what you should learn.
Right.
Don't rush a career, especially this one. So I would always tell these guys, build your career first, then you can start experimenting in restaurants later. But don't learn from the chefs that have got the experience, and learn their style, learn their techniques, absorb all the information you can while you're young. Because once you get a little bit older, it gets harder.
Yeah.
You don't bounce back from a hangover as bad, as easy. You don't, if you've got kids, they're worse than hangovers. Because they're relentless. No matter what, every single day, 7 days a week, it's 5:30 wake up.
Yeah. There's no 4 on, 3 off.
Yeah. It's on.
Yeah.
And then no matter what, it's just like, it's worse sometimes it's worse than a hangover.
Yeah.
Because they're just relentless. So it is, these guys, I said, build your career, build your palate, and then go from there. So that's when I took over the job in this place in the national park. That was my first time really putting dishes together.
Yeah.
And if there was hindsight and this kind of stuff, I probably wouldn't have done what I did. I think I probably would have gone and learned more from someone for a couple more years. But I was still fortunate enough that I got really good reviews, and then that I got, from different publications, I got good reviews. And I was pretty young. I was pretty immature. Looking back, I was super volatile. Everything that I said I wouldn't be, I was.
Yeah.
And I think I jumped into it a little bit early. I hadn't matured enough as a chef. I think. So I learned a lot of mistakes from that restaurant. And then after that, after getting good reviews, I went somewhere else. I was sous chef, and then we were visiting. That's when we kind of visited mum and dad in America. Like they'd been here like 17 plus years.
Oh, okay.
I think. Yeah.
Yeah.
So they've been here a while.
In Jersey and
in Jersey.
Okay.
Yeah. So they started off in Hoboken, South Amboy, and then they're up in Morristown now. So
I bet.
Yeah. So it is. We came visiting, and then we have family friends in the area, in Millburn, and that's where we kind of got.
I got you, because I was going to ask like how you wound up here.
Yeah. So
basically like traveling the world, and you wind up in Millburn, New Jersey. Like to me, that's a interesting jump, but it totally makes sense.
Nadine and I were always chatting. We got to a point where like we had opened a couple of restaurants in Sydney and for different owners, and some of those owners just had no clue what they were doing, and it was frustrating because you're like, this is not what you're supposed to be doing. But they're the owners, and you just say and get it done. So we got to a point where we're just like, okay, we got to start thinking about ourselves, and we spoke to our parents about it. We're like, look, this is what we want to try and open our own place, and my parents are in New York or New Jersey. Her parents are in Austria, and we're in Australia. So like opposite ends.
Yeah.
So we had to try and figure out where a good middle ground was. New Jersey's becoming more multicultural. New York's just on the doorstep. So we're like, okay, well let's do New York. It's 7-hour flight to Austria. It's best of both worlds. They can come over. The Dean's family can come over, and we can, it's nice and close.
Yeah.
So when we did some initial research visits to New York and then looked at rent and then just literally shit ourselves, because rent in Australia is not that much.
No, right.
When you're looking at $22,000 a month in rent for a small ass space, I was like,
yeah.
I was like, as a 30-year-old, I was like, this no. This is not
right.
happen.
This is not the spot.
I was there like, this is not.
Yeah.
I don't have the balls to do this.
Right.
Fear of failure was definitely what was driving decisions.
Oh yeah.
So and
self-preservation.
Yeah, pretty much. I was like, okay, no, that's not going to work.
Yeah, right.
And I did. So we looked out here. We came out. Mum and Dad were like, we'll come out to the suburbs. It's like this is a big hub for people who live in New York.
Yep.
And I'm like, okay. So we toured around the suburbs and had a kind of look. We visited family friends who live up the street, and they're like, we have kind of this property. My parents were involved in this particular property as well. They owned it, and so we're like, okay, well, this area looks good, and we're like, okay, well, they were looking to renovate this into apartments or something else. Like that's what they wanted to do with it.
Yeah.
we kind of jokingly said, okay, well, let's get, why don't you just build a restaurant, a custom restaurant in the space. And we flew back, and a couple of months later, they spoke about it, and they said, okay, let's do it.
Yeah.
And I literally just went, oh shit.
Oh, now it's real.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. Now, because I was,
Because now you can't be like, you know what? I'm like, yeah, right. I was just kidding. Yeah. I'm not going halfway around the country.
I'm changing careers.
Or the world, I mean.
So,
yeah, right. I'm changing careers.
Yeah, we proposed this forward to them, and they had blind trust in me. Like, I was young, Nadeem was younger, and we were, going to invest a lot of money into this restaurant. Them being the landlords, us being the tenant. But it was super business-like in terms of negotiations and stuff like that. And we just kind of got it done. This is what the style that we were planning to do. We were planning to do casual, casual fine dining. So as we're building this kind of, I guess, portfolio of ideas and stuff like that, we'd fly back and forth. Like, I remember flying in one day for like 3 days, signing documents.
From Australia?
Yeah.
Holy shit.
We were still based in Australia.
Okay. It's like what, like a 20-hour flight, 22-hour flight?
22-hour flight, 24-hour flight.
Yeah.
And I remember flying in because I wasn't allowed much leave.
Right.
Fly in, sign paperwork, fly back, go back straight into work. Don't know how I did it, but
Yeah, I don't either, honestly.
but it was fine. I slept well the next day.
Yeah.
Yeah. Had plenty of coffee.
Yeah.
My coffee intake increased dramatically.
Of course, as one does. Yeah.
Yeah. So it was interesting, and then we got architects involved, interior designers, like a branding company, and that's what really set it off.
Yeah.
Okay, let's do this. And then that's where it started. 2015, we started construction on the restaurant, and we flew over then and moved over.
Yeah.
In 2015.
Cool.
Watched them renovate the place because we had to, because of some stupid DEP rule about flooding and whatever.
Right.
Even though, like, in Ida and Sandy, this didn't get touched, but it was we had to renovate. So we found some interesting shit in this restaurant.
I would imagine.
Yeah, it was, all the original walls to the basement, we've just kind of gone around it.
Yeah.
So they're just decorative.
Right.
But like this end of the restaurant, when we took it apart, it had been fire damaged.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and so
That's an interesting thing to find.
Yeah, so there was literally no structural element in between the walls.
Yeah.
So they literally just put fresh wall on. Yeah.
Great.
I was like, even the demo guys who are normally like, we don't buckle in.
Yeah.
We don't put our harnesses on. They put harnesses on.
Just
because
so unsafe.
Yeah. They're just like, holy crap. Because we had to renovate. So we weren't technically allowed to knock it down.
Yeah.
So they had to build the structure in between all this wobbling kind of half building and shit like that.
Interesting.
So, yeah. And then when we got to the kitchen side, because we weren't allowed, because we were renovating, we weren't allowed heavy equipment to kind of come in and dig the foundation. So I remember showing up one day, it was like June or July, and it was hot as hell. And some poor guy digging the foundations, 15 foundation pits.
Yeah.
4 or 5 feet deep each by hand.
Oh my God.
And a bucket.
Yeah.
I could hear him. I was there. I pulled in.
Yeah.
I went, it's not worth it today.
Yeah, right. Let's don't say hi.
We're just going to go home.
How's it going?
I just pulled in, pulled out, and went, fucking, I'm out of here. Because I felt really bad for the guy.
Yeah, right.
I was like, this sucks. And he knew he couldn't do it by equipment.
Right.
It was awkward as well. So, we designed the kitchen on the corner.
Yeah.
Dad's going to take, I had to put Dad in this. So Dad had to put it in because, he's the one that said it, apparently.
Yeah.
None of us can remember it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So
a lot of times dads do that.
yeah, so he takes credit for it. But it made sense. There's nothing to look at. It's an intersection. And, you're watching drivers who can't drive and
Yeah, right.
taking wrong turns and going down one.
Getting confused about this road closure and one ways.
Yeah, it's one way, but they go down it anyway. And you watch them. You can tell people, like, if they're confident, they'll commit.
You gotta.
They'll commit halfway down the street.
Yeah.
And then they'll turn around.
That's pretty good.
And we've watched one go 3/4 of the way up the street and still not realize. So, every time we watch it, we all watch it, like how far they're going to commit.
Right.
And so that's why, like, it's for us, it's entertainment in the kitchen.
Yeah.
But we're like,
it is interesting. And we were talking about this at dinner the other day, like the way that it's set up and having the kitchen down there. And it's like surrounded by like window. Like, when do you see that in a kitchen? I don't think I've ever seen that.
It's rare, but there was nothing, like, we're like, there's nothing to stare at. So you might as well. Open kitchens were kind of I guess they were happening. Everyone liked open kitchens, and that's why, okay, well, let's make that the theater, in a sense. So everyone, in a sense, can see the kitchen and its workings on this floor.
Yeah.
And it's its own advertising. At the night we run the kitchen lights 100%. So when you see it from the outside and all the window, it's its own advertising.
Gotta be really cool.
Yeah, it's people staring at it like, oh, when we first opened. We were watching people like slow driving past us, like rubbernecking, watching it going, oh wow, and then braking really hard because they're about to crash into the car in front of them. And we're like,
so basically, you're the reason why people can't drive around it.
Yeah, pretty much. But yeah, it was interesting. It was a year of construction, and it was the hardest. When we opened, it was the hardest part because I had no connections here.
Yeah.
I was randomly cold emailing or cold calling or emailing people like chefs going, hi, you don't know me, but I'm opening a restaurant and I'm from Australia, but I've got no connections. Who are some good suppliers?
Yeah.
Who are the suppliers? I have no idea.
Yeah.
And so I would reach out to chefs and I would chat to them and that's pretty much how I got it started. I started with some suppliers and I didn't like them, so I got rid of them. I found the ones that I like today and I've kept them from pretty much day one. Like my fish guys have been from pretty much day one.
Yeah.
I've got such a good relationship with them. They'll call me at 2 a.m. and say, oh, I can't get this fish, but I'm sending this fish instead. Is that okay? At 2 a.m. I just say yes to anything to just get them off the phone. I'm like, don't care.
Trying to sleep.
Yeah. But it was brutal. I had to try and find chefs that were that I had no idea about.
Yeah, right.
I had to trust them.
Yeah.
I had an interview with them, but I didn't know how they cooked. We didn't have a kitchen to cook in yet. So the first year was rough. Like, I give it that. It was the most rewarding, yes, stressful year that we've ever done. I think when we came to soft openings and shit, it was stressful. My parents were stressed.
Yeah.
They're like, oh my God, we just, can he cook? Is pretty much what every time they talk to me. Like,
duped?
Yeah. Have we just been suckered?
Right.
And I questioned it as well.
Yeah.
So like, I've got experience. I've worked in some of the best places in the world. Am I actually a good cook?
Right.
Can I manage a team? And when we first opened, it was stressful. Like, our soft openings were busy, but we kept it downstairs and we kept it, quite tight. We knew from the pre-opening press that we were getting some hype.
Yeah.
And Nadine and I, we got a dog, obviously. That was, we rescued a dog.
Yeah, it's great.
It made us go home and made us, focus on something else.
Yeah, let's unplug for a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So when we opened this, it was like Nadine was in the front and this kind of stuff. And I kind of scrolled through this book that I was like, okay, this is what I want to be, et cetera, et cetera. Well, the first day, kind of just threw that shit out.
Yeah.
I was stressed and, stress was kind of getting the best of me. And I had a temper, but I'd go from 0 to 100 in a split second.
Yeah.
And I think it's because of the media put the pressure on, the amount of hype that they put on.
Yeah. Was there a reason why you were getting so much out of it? Is it because of your background?
Yeah. From what you read pre-opening, it was like, okay, well, this caliber chef has yet to open a restaurant in New Jersey or it was someone international.
Right.
I mean,
yeah.
that aspect.
Yeah.
And it was stressful. Like, you know, when we opened our doors, it was full on. I think we had every magazine, we had New York Times within the first 3 months.
Wow.
And there's part of me where I look at it, I'm like, I think that's a little bit unfair because we are still tweaking big time.
Yeah, sure.
I was tweaking where I was putting the chopping boards.
Yeah.
And spoon pots in the kitchen.
Right.
You know, every week I'd change it, or every day I would change it. And you know, it was like that. And you know, New York Times, all these articles started to kind of happen, and they were phenomenal. Like, they were phenomenal. New York Times in particular, you know, 4 out of 4 or whatever it is, excellent out of excellent.
Yeah.
It was. I remember reading it. Someone telling me, "Oh my God, you know, New York Times is out," and I went, "Yeah, I tweaked. I was like, oh my God,
Yeah.
ran my ass down to the ShopRite, ripping up, like, where's the New York Times? Where's the New York Times?
Yeah.
Grabbed like 5 copies, brought it back up in the office. Nadeem was in the office. Mum was in the office as well at that time. And I remember reading it and I just cried. I was like, oh, this is good.
Yeah. That's not bad for sure. Yeah.
And Mum cried because she's like, I think, you know, in her mind, she's like, yeah, proud, obviously proud, but like, too, like, thank God, you know, like, thank God he can cook. And my wife, like, yeah, thank God he can cook as well.
Yeah, seriously. No, it's so cool. It's so interesting to me, and like, you know, we've had a bunch of chefs on the show so far, and I always interested to kind of see like what their journey is like to kind of get to where they are, and like when they had that first, like, doing it on their own and having like their first success. You know, and obviously like that's a big one. And we've had obviously plenty that we've had on the show so far, and your story is so unique in and of itself because of like where you're coming from and your background, the places that you cooked outside of some of the other chefs that we've had on the show too. So we got a few more minutes left. But I want to make sure that we talk about Common Lot, the restaurant.
Yeah.
So if you can describe it in a brief way, what is Common Lot? Like, what should people expect when they're coming in here? Like, what are they getting?
So Common Lot we do a globally inspired contemporary fine dining.
Okay.
I think that's kind of the best way. We don't have a genre that we fit in, I guess, but we do globally inspired fine dining.
Right.
And I think we've morphed into that. I think when we opened, we were trying to do more casual dining, more share plates. Wednesday, Thursdays, we do that. But like Friday, Saturdays, we go a little bit more with our prefix. And now that we offer a tasting menu, that's even taking a step up. So after COVID, we decided that, you know, people were kind of after it, and you know, it made sense after going through 2021, you know, of doing like whatever it takes to get through burgers, shit like that. We decided, okay, let's refresh ourselves. We can start again, and that's how we've ended up here now.
Yeah.
Which is fine dining.
Yeah. But I also, and I think kind of like to your point, and a lot of stuff that you've been talking about so far, like you get that 100%, like when you're a eater here, a patron, but also it's like approachable.
Yeah.
Because I think like you were saying before, like sometimes you go to a place that's like a fine dining place, and someone like me that just like, you know, I've had the luxury and like, you know, very grateful for like the people that I know now and being able to like eat in places that like otherwise I wouldn't go.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because it's just like not my vibe.
Yeah.
You know, but then like you go to places that are fine dining and it's like, you know, like it's this much food on the plate and it's just like a very different vibe. But then you go to places like this or some of the places we've had on the show where it's like fine dining, but, you know, me as just like a regular guy who knows really nothing about food can just walk in and feel comfortable and like look at the menu and be like, this sounds really good and interesting and all that kind of stuff. And then, you know, now traveling around with Chrissy, and she's like obviously has like a pedigree and a background, and like she knows all like the finer tuned things, and so like the two of us have a great time. That's really what I get like from this place is like it's very approachable, and like the menu changes quite a bit.
Yeah. We do. We try to change it seasonally, obviously.
Okay.
And dishes can come off and on quite quickly. obviously depending on the season and this kind of stuff. But if the dish is not working or not selling, it's business. Business is business. Take it off. Sure, put something else on.
Yeah.
But we have tried to make it as, I guess, rounded as we can. So not stuffy. The waiters are in like, just a nice apron and, button-up shirt of their own, jeans. So our definition of fine dining is not white glove service. It's not tablecloths. It's, that is, you can get that level.
Sure.
But we do it with, good looking plates. We're obviously seasonal.
Very good looking at plates.
Has to taste
Yes.
good. And that is something that we kind of strive on. And our servers are very knowledgeable.
Yeah.
Like I push them to know stuff. Every time we change a dish or as a menu change, all the servers come in and we do a tasting with it. They eat it, they taste it, they write notes, and I quiz them halfway through the dish or season the lifespan of the dish.
Yeah.
I'll still quiz them on dishes. Is this nut free? How do you describe it at the table? So that we're constantly kind of giving back to them, with knowledge and information, so they can really pass that on to the diner.
Yeah.
So it's obviously there's two parts. You got the kitchen in the front of house, and we work together and try to provide something that is both, I guess, in sync with both kind of ideologies.
Right.
Nadine has a way to do service, and I have a way to do service. And we're lucky that both Nadine and I can work really well with each other, and we're both synced in our mindset for the common lot.
Yeah. I love that. This episode has been so great.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just been really, because I knew a little, like reading your bio, you can understand like kind of where you come from.
Yeah.
But then like really just sitting down and like chatting with you is, even the other day at dinner, just like, I really appreciate it.
No, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Absolutely. So, unfortunately, we are coming to the end of this episode. I'm sure you and I, it just seems like we could talk for another like 4 hours, but I'm sure you have things to do.
Yeah.
But so if people want to learn more about Common Law, about you, like what are some places they can go? Any recommendations on kind of like making reservations, like that kind of thing?
Reservations. So I don't deal with the reservations.
Yeah.
Reservations, Resi. We're online on the website. You can phone us, email us. Email is probably the best bet because we can read it from home. If it's an urgent email, info at Common Lot. But yeah, we're 4 days open, Wednesday to Saturday. Dinners only, so from 5:30 onwards. So yeah, Wednesday, Thursdays are a la carte. And so, full choice of the menu. Friday, Saturday's a prefix, and every night of the Wednesday to Saturday we do tasting menus.
Yeah.
So something that's a little bit higher end, off the menu, not really the same. Little bit push, like it will push you a little bit in some flavor profiles. But it's a new concept that we're trialing.
Yeah.
And it's working well so far.
Yeah. I don't know, that the tasting menu that I saw on Wednesday, if Chrissy and I, it wasn't like my first time here.
Yeah.
And we were just like, I was like, I'm just going to get one thing. That's what I would have went for.
Yeah.
Cause like each thing I was like, ooh, like I like that.
Yeah.
I like that. That's interesting. Like, that kind of thing. But then we wound up just like sharing a bunch of shit.
Yeah.
But it's still great.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
basically like we've made our own taste.
But that's how Nadine and I eat.
Yeah.
Is that we'll get a lot of apps.
Yep.
And then like one main to share.
That's literally what we do.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's great because you get to try more.
Yeah,
you know?
exactly.
Yeah. She doesn't eat that much. I eat too much. So it's like a good balance.
Yeah, we pick stuff that we like,
Yeah.
that I like, and then I tend to kind of like give her one spoon, and then that's it.
Right.
And they just take the plate back.
Yeah. No, I get that. Yeah.
Or not at all.
Yeah, right.
Well, this is really good. You
Yeah.
can order your own. Which obviously never happens.
Of course.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
Oh man.
But otherwise we wouldn't having this conversation.
Yeah.
I'd be dead by now.
Right. She would have made it through the whole episode.
Yeah.
But again, thank you so much. So I'm gonna make sure that I put like the website and the social handles in the show notes. People can just go click them so they can come check it out. And I'll also make sure that I put greetingsfromthegardenstate.com in the show notes as well. So you can obviously you checked out this episode, but all of our other episodes that we posted so far. Ehren, thank you so
Thank
much
you very
for
much.
giving me almost, now an hour of your time or
Awesome.
more than that. So really appreciate it. Good luck and everything else.
Thank you.
I'm sure we'll talk again soon.
Awesome. Thank you.
Absolutely. So this has been the Greetings from the Garden State podcast. I'm Mike Ham. We are here at Common Law in Millburn, New Jersey with Ehren Ryan. Thank you for listening, and we will catch you next time.